Hold on. Alright, you can go. Dissonant
Hello.
Waves. I swear we're a music chat.
This is Dissonant Waves. We're an amateur podcast, and we're talking about ourselves this week. Of all things, we're talking about ourselves.
Yeah.
Because we're that
This is
egotistical, and it's Pride Month, and why not?
this is one of the greatest and worst experiments that we've ever done, and I can't wait till we do it again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, let's say something. Let's say Black Lives Matter. Let's say trans rights. Let's say, fuck the police. Let's say all that stuff right now. Get it out of the way. We're recording this in the midst of civil unrest in America.
Is this politics in my music chat?
Yes, this is politics in your music chat, Rillin. Get with it or get fucked.
I came to talk to a bunch of people who have proclaimed and openly admitted them to being in the LGBT and talking about LGBT issues. I didn't expect that politics would come up.
Those politics. I tell you.
Oh my god, deep fried bagels are amazing.
Yeah. The true important issue that we're recording this episode on today is J.K. Rowling is still a dickhead.
Yeah, fuck J.K. Rowling.
Who would have guessed, huh? Who would have guessed?
After all those years
This
of
is
Harry
what
Potter,
happens when you allow an author to be a bestseller. They start thinking their words are actually important.
Harry Potter was so important to me growing up, and now I find that she's a TERF, and fuck TERFs.
See, I never had to wear glasses, so Harry Potter meant nothing to me.
Oh, I did.
I'm wearing round frames right fucking now.
You want to go draw a lightning bolt on your forehead while you're there?
Do I have a Sharpie? If I can find a pen or something, I will.
On that note, we are reviewing the EPs that we all made. We did a first impressions last week. I don't know if that episode is up by now, but it should be.
I mean, theoretically, it should be.
And now we're gonna go a lot more in depth into them. It's a bit kind of hard because unlike most times we review albums, we kind of rank them, we kind of compare them with other things, and we also try to we don't try to take into consideration the budget or the ability or the knowledge.
But this
In
is
this
us.
one, we're all a bunch of idiots who don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
So we've taken that into consideration.
And let's keep in mind, Ritalin made 3 EPs. The other 2 of us made 1 each.
And don't forget, I put out 2 EPs a couple years ago, Sports Ball and Sports Ball 2 Electric Boogaloo.
So, Callum is the musician here. We're just
Yeah.
the peons.
Which let's get into my first
Let's get into all of yours.
First-
Let's just get you
I was
out
gonna
of the
say
way.
we want to do all of these to start off there.
I mean, what's the point of breaking it up? It's all one session.
Yeah.
It's all one, project basically. This isn't
I
like
mean,
when we listen
yeah,
to it.
So, just want to point out the albums that the titles on the albums that we're covering, so people don't get confused. So, Tricks is what was your name? It was the Mediocre EP, wasn't it?
The pretentious and mediocre acoustic EP.
Dominic's Jerry's Told Stories, and then mine were the end of the podcast, the start of something new. And what I want to kind of just start off with for like 5 minutes here, because I know Dominic's probably got a couple questions, but not much about it, is the B-Sides compilation that, Trix, you haven't uploaded that to Spotify yet, have you?
My phone keeps crashing every time I try and upload it. You're gonna
That's
have to
alright,
upload
so
that.
that's alright, I'll probably get to doing it later.
We'll get that uploaded by the time this episode airs, I'm sure.
Yeah. So hopefully all of that, I don't know, Trix is putting theirs out on Spotify, are you?
Yeah, I am. I've been having some issues with the DistroKid on my end. I'm on a different account.
So hopefully by this time this episode is out, all of that should be up on streaming services. If you want to listen to it on Spotify, you can. It should be up on YouTube Music, Google Play. Me and Dominic could put it up on Bandcamp. I don't know if Trix does.
I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, well, anyway, we'll try and link this all below. Let's get started.
Yes.
I take a sip of my cider with the
Let's-
B-Sides compilation.
Let's talk about the B-sides. Let's talk
So-
about all the samples you made of me.
So, for those who haven't had the pleasure of listening to this EP, which would be pretty much everybody in the world, which is a shame. I heavily sampled this podcast in all of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where I would find just random quotes. Sometimes I'll try to make the quote kind of work. Sometimes I'll just put it as a backing vocal to kind of help the sound. Unless that's what I was trying to go for.
Sure.
Whether or not it did that is completely different. And on the B-sides compilation, I think the one that I ended up using it as well, but Dominic absolutely loves this one. It's in the Dominic skit B-side, is where I grabbed the sample from the Gautier episode where he calls Gautier an incel. I cut it down, I removed all the silence, I didn't replace it with anything, so it shortened it down, and it went, let's think, I think what really boils down to me. Like, kind of just stupid repetitiveness and no reason in there, with this kind of bad bass line happening, and then a drum shot, or what is it? It's like a rim shot or something.
And it's like audience
Tricky
applauding
coming
and
from that.
everything.
And then just a bunch of audience laughing, and then just a shitty bass line just like fades out in the end. And originally, I actually had that to open up the end of the podcast. I wanted this really shit intro
Yeah.
that would still like that would still cause a laugh the second that, like, say Dominic or something realized what it was. But I ended up removing this one specifically from the end of the podcast after giving the EP a couple of listens. So the original end of the podcast order was the exact same, except tuning was Dominic's skit.
Oh, interesting.
And all those songs had actually been made at that point in order, one from the to the end. So Dominic's skit was pretty much the first song that I made. I'd
thank
actually
you.
I'd shared it with Trix early because
You had.
yeah, because originally I was going to say, hey Trix, can you do a kind of like a running bass line here? I ended up doing it myself on the acoustic guitar, down pitched it quite a lot. Grabbed some public domain samples that I could. That drum shot is a mixture of one that I had found, plus I had this little desktop drum set, which is like this just really shitty drum set that you can get like a JB Hi-Fi sign, and I did it with that as well, and that's both there. And yeah, it's intentionally shit, but that's the kind of creation of that. And that was actually the first song made for this, because Meet Me One Day at the end of the podcast was planned before it, but I hadn't actually created it yet.
I appreciate that my words about Gautier really affected you to the point that you made a whole
Yeah.
thing about it.
And originally, and you can see the remnants of it in the art for the B-sides, is in the Dissonant Waves kind of section at the top left, which is that original one that I was going for. But then I'm like, nah, don't think I'm going to go with that. I'll go with this instead. I tried out this, and then this didn't work. So now it's just on the B-sides. I was also thinking, do I put it onto the start of something new? But just the way and the direction that the start of something new was going, I just like I didn't really have it in there. I just like nope, just goes.
Well,
And that is the only song on there that was made before the end of the podcast was finished.
interesting.
Because let me show you a trick. The extended instrumental. That's just let me show you a trick. Just an extended instrumental. There's not really much else on there. And let me show you a remix. Wasn't actually that remix that I made. And let me show you a trick. Was not made until after I'd finished the end of the podcast.
But you have original stuff like this tune has no name but a nice beat.
Yeah, that was all towards the end of making. Took a look in here. Yeah, that was all done towards the end of making the start of something new, where I was going like, how do I end this? What do I do in here? And just trying to remember. So the end track, I wasn't quite sure it was going to be the ending for around halfway through the creation of that. And I tried a couple things that are towards the end of this B-sides compilation to kind of end it with, and this tune has no name but a nice beat. Was this kind of beat that I was playing with, putting in 30 seconds, and then after a while I'm just like, I like this beat a lot. but I don't know where to go with this. And I kind of scrapped it. I tried a different one with that kind of same style, the drum and bass, getting the drum and bass side gig out, which is one of the only other proper B-sides on here.
Which I quite liked.
And again, yeah, I like that one as well, but it just didn't fit anywhere with the things that I was going for. And the final one on there, Wave, was using a ukulele track that Tricks had made. I kind of edited it, did some pitching, did some repetition, trying to make it work, and it didn't.
Needless to say, Ritalin had the most time and did a lot, and sampled both of us quite heavily.
Yeah.
And the podcast. And I really tried to make his EPs embody Dissonant Waves. For a reason I don't know, but I appreciate it.
So I just gonna ask the question. Let me show you a remix, or let me show you which one do you want?
I'll show you a track. I did appreciate I was gonna say, I wanted to give a special shout out to Meet Me One Day, the Tape Live version. The effort you put into that as well.
Yeah, that was getting a lot. Just putting a instrumental, kind of speeding it up a little bit.
Like I said in the chat, it's a little sad in a way, because it's like you're mocking up an audience for yourself. Like, look at me play, please. But it's also kind of fun too. It's just a joke, you know. Like, I get it. I'm hip to the vibe. I'm hip to the humor, you know.
No, I did it before. At the end of the day, he's live at the West Stadium, which is, if you looked into my sports school project, the actual game I made a while ago, I have a venue at West Stadium. I kind of just did this again with Meet Me One Day at the end of the podcast. It was also kind of because that was the song that was kind of getting
Yeah, that's the other thing too. You showed this stuff to people. People like
Yeah.
responded to this stuff.
I showed
Yeah,
my coworker mine.
I've not shown anybody. I put it out there, but no one responded. So whatever.
I have Fucker. I made a bass tune, which is the third part of Fucker's parts 1 to 3. Literally nothing changed from parts 3 on there. I added that on here because that was the original file that I had for it, and I figured that's probably the best part of it as well. We'll just put it on a B-sides compilation because it kind of can. It's only 30 seconds. And
Yeah.
What the Fuck is a Geck was supposed to be it's kind of like 100 Gecks kind of parody, but in the end I kind of gave up on it. No hate to 100 Gecks. I like the album. I just wanted to. I mean, I like shit posting of things that I like, and that's what the fuck is a Geck was supposed to be. But in the end, I kind of gave up on it. So that's why it has that shitty kind of just thumping bass outro. It's not supposed to be a finished song. That's literally just a demo that's put on here.
And that's the fun. That's the fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into the actual proper EPs in which we did the first impressions on, unless either of you got anything else to ask about the B-sides comp.
Like I mean, my questions really are about the whole project instead of the individual EPs. Like, I want to know about your selection process of like what samples to use and how you sampled the podcast and everything. Like, why did you go to those episodes and get those clips, all that stuff.
So there was a couple ones in which so now we're talking about the whole thing in general here as well. So just pointing that out for people who are getting confused. So for the selection process for podcast quotes, now a couple of them were selective. The only one that was truly selective, like I wanted that quote specifically, was the Gautier incel.
Of course. My
But
infamous
a lot of
quote.
a lot of them were actually just finding an episode at random. But what I was truly looking for was the people who were talking in it, because I wanted it more to sound like a conversation between two people than I did want it to sound like it's a whole podcast happening. So if you'll notice from most of them, it should be for all of them, but I could have missed out and accidentally done it somewhere else. it should only actually be two people talking at once.
Yes. I think Trix and I are
And-
talking about K-pop, and then I'm talking with you about Algiers and Hockey Dad.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm ever actually talking to Trix.
No, I don't think so.
so.
Here, you can talk right now. I won't talk.
You have this wine is good.
Who said I wanted to talk to Trix, huh? Okay, understandable. Have a nice day.
I can't cut that out.
So yeah, I'm trying to remember which are the ones.
Don't want you to.
Which are the ones that I had the podcastings in? So I had it in tuning. I have it in Sad White Boy. I got it on Let Me Show You a Reprise. I got it in the Start of Something New. Yeah, that's actually, I believe that's the only ones that it's in there, because Sad White Boy Part 2 is, and the stuff in there is all using news reports.
Yeah.
And if you actually listen to the end of the podcast, you'll hear this kind of glitchy voice in there as well.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of it.
So that's none of you guys. Originally, the quote that I was going to use to Let Me Show You a Trick was going to be what ended up in the end of the podcast. I was searching on YouTube for, can I see this person doing a card trick on YouTube, quote that, and put it on Let Me Show You a Trick. Which, the name is a parody, it's a pun on tricks. That's it.
No, really?
And then everything else in there is a pun on that, if it's on that. Just pointing it out there because, sometimes you need to state the obvious. But originally I was going to get that card trick quote and put it on that song. But I found it sounded so much cooler with the Clint Eastwood quote.
Yeah.
And I love the way that it just ends with "I don't like you guys laughing" and then just nothing else after that. I found that ending just like funny. It's like this guy is like, "I don't like you laughing," and he's like breaks down a bit of that. I just like that.
I just think it's so funny he put Clint Eastwood on the EP because Clint Eastwood is one of my guilty pleasures in movies. I've seen just about everything Clint Eastwood's ever been in and ever touched.
I did find a YouTube video of this guy trying to show off a card trick, and he has this kind of really poor way of speaking as well. I'm not gonna throw out the link for now. I don't want anybody to make fun of the person, but
right.
I ended up just putting in there, kind of warping, and the way that it just warped meant that the sound became a lot more glitchier with it, and it was cool.
Yeah, it does sound really cool. I mean, I speak very poorly usually, so, I understand.
But, trying to just, remembering that. But yeah, I pretty much, I spent a lot of stuff finding some things off YouTube for quotes that were a bit more public domain. There were some samples on there that I could just take as well, because they literally put in their video, "This is a public domain sample, feel free to take it."
That's cool.
So I'd actually spent quite a bit on here on YouTube, but then I found some quotes and stuff that I could do, because stuff like news reports and stuff like that, can't really be privatized.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And I also made sure that I cut them down to use because there's an appropriate amount of anything that you can use that still goes under fair use law.
Mm-hmm.
So I made sure that I didn't just steal something. If I did a sample, I was really only using a small part of that sample and pretty much just threw out the rest.
Right.
Yeah. Trying to think what. So
here's a question I have for you.
Yeah.
Is there anything that's not on these EPs? Did you cut anything?
So anything that's not on this or the B-sides?
Yes.
Let me quickly go check, because the answer to that might just be a straight up no.
Because I know you had that one that you had planned out. That you were calling me out, but you never recorded
the Dissonant Rants never got recorded.
Right. So is there anything you recorded? Any like scraps of anything even?
Yep. Everything that was kind of recorder and everything. Now there are some versions on there that aren't there because I had edited a demo or something else like that. There are some demo versions that aren't on here, but they're not necessary to put on.
Because it's like, I'm just saying, like, like when Led Zeppelin, every 20 years they seem to release new material somehow, but it's like, oh, it's the backing track.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like this slightly different demo or
Yeah.
track. It's like, there's always something.
So the other big sample that I know you love that I used was I actually used quite a bit from the outtake that you had for your EP.
Yes, I was actually very pleased that you used that because I wasn't going to.
Yeah. And the big one is at the end of I make experimental shit in my room,
Yeah.
which I know you two didn't really like the song, which is fair enough. I think that one's gotten a bit more negative reception than other ones have. But I absolutely adore what I made of that ending.
It's just like so dramatic and so like the piano is so like corny in a way. It makes me laugh. And it's like, I don't know, it's like you immortalize something I was just kind of throwing out there, just be like, hey, I recorded something, just so you guys know.
Yeah, well, the fun of this is like, because again, what we all did was like we said, hey, if we posted it in this Discord for us all to see,
It's fair
then
use.
unless we specifically said no, we allow anybody to sample or use it.
Right.
Yeah.
Me and Dominic were really the only ones who followed up on that.
Yeah, mine I wanted to stick to myself, kind of really.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of interesting because I've sampled so much of your guitar in this tracks.
Yeah, you did.
Like songs like I Can't Think of a Tricks Pun, Started Something New, Sad White Boy Has Gotten Better, Fucker I Made a Tune, Let Me Show You a Trick, Let Me Show You a Reprise. All of those use your guitar.
Yeah.
And it's like we took from each other, and I think that's really fun. I don't know. I appreciate it, and I thought it was only appropriate once I co-opted horny, whatever that song is called.
All right, you horny fucks.
All right, you horny fucks. I'm looking right at the title. Yes.
But yeah, so the big one is that whilst Dominic his voice is sampled quite a lot in here, the only people who actually sing on this is me and Trix.
Well, what do
Yeah.
you sing?
I'm backing vocals for Meet Me One Day at the end of the podcast.
Really?
So you'll hear Trix go, "She broke my heart," and then I'm just there in the background. You'll hear, "Break my heart,"
I didn't even like really pay attention. I thought that was just tricks.
because Trix echoes. I've put in a lot of echo for Trix's
Oh,
voice
fuck, man.
intentionally.
Uh huh.
But I also have me as a backing vocal that literally just says broke my heart."
I was gonna say, if you wanted, you could probably find clips of me singing, but they're all copyrighted lyrics, probably. So.
But yeah, so that was that's what I found interesting because I think your voice, out of all the voices I sampled, probably appears the most.
I mean, that does play with your ego a little bit, I will say. It made me really confront my voice and think about the positives and negatives it has, and I think made me appreciate it a little bit more. So thank you for that.
That was not my intention, but positives are positives.
It was not your intention, but when you force me to listen to my own voice for so, and when I force myself to listen to my voice for how many hours editing my own stuff, you just gotta face yourself
Instrumental
with it.
EP, woohoo!
Yeah, the next EP I'm just gonna sample Trix's.
Go
That's
ahead.
right. So unfortunately, I didn't get to do this because and I want to do this. I still want to do this, Dominic.
Yeah.
I want you to pass me just all the voiced files for your EP, and I
Oh
want
yeah.
I want to make my own produced version of that as well.
Do you want me to send you just all the raw files?
Yeah, just all the files to the voice. That's all I need. 'Cause,
I mean, if you
Because
want all of
I'm-
our, if you want all of our side conversation, like I just kind of recorded the two of us like talking to the point where, like in the middle of recording, we just kind of have like a side conversation, and we'd improv some stuff, and that's where that outtake came from. So if you want all of that, I can give you like, a lot. I have a lot in that sense.
yeah. Well, pretty much. Yeah, I want only all the voice files you have.
Yeah. Okay.
But not now. Obviously, now we're recording here, so
Yeah, we'll do that later.
let's go back on. Yeah.
If you can
So,
record it and make it,
any other big specific questions that either of you have, just whilst I'm drawing a blank at the moment?
Not really.
what was the inspiration for Spatial Interlude? Because Trix and I both really like that because if it's like Sega quality, it's very much
Yeah.
like a Sega style music track.
I think Spatial Interlude was one of those ones that wasn't really a inspiration. It was just me fucking around in Ableton, and then I came across this like, oh, I like the sound. Obviously, there are songs that I've heard like this. Like, I think the big one that I can probably compare it to is one of the more spacey sounds of a beach house song.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Now, it's not as good as a beach house song, but that's we're not talking about quality here.
I mean, it just
Quantity
proves to
over
me that you could go to
quality is your
Sega and be like, "Hey, I will score your next Monkey Ball.
I've never
Isn't
really
that-
played Monkey Ball, so
I'll score your
Dude,
next
totally
F-Zero.
monkey balling.
I'll score your next arcade game. Whatever you want to say."
But mostly the kind of way that this runaround created is that I was messing around with the instruments that Ableton had, and some of the samples, so drums and stuff like the maracas and stuff in there. Literally just messing around with it, and I kind of just came across this like kind of whole like. I think there was this very simple sample in there. I put that in, mess around with some drums, kind of just put this on this loop. Kind of started to kind of build it up, and then just have this fade out on there as well. And that's pretty much the creation of a Spatial Interlude. It's the same with the end of the podcast. Actually, there wasn't really any inspiration per se to go into there, but I was messing around, and it just so happens that the sounds that I was messing around with were those types of sounds. It's not really a coincidence that I landed on similar sounds to both of them. Those were just the sounds I was messing with pretty much
Right.
the whole creation. So
Plus, you play
it
video
was always
games.
kind of bound to be in this kind of direction.
Plus, you play video games, so it's not a surprise that we're going to relate it to kind of a video game thing. Like, I'm sure that's been an influence on you unconsciously or not.
Probably. Now, I want Trix to describe the development from one song here.
Okay.
Trix, you know which one I'm on about.
Is it the meet me at the one day at the end of the podcast, or
No. The
oh, all right, you horny fucks?
yeah.
I forget what the initial song for it was. The song title for it was what was it?
Fuck. You know what? I'm gonna go search that up whilst you go explain.
But anyway, he posted a version of this without the moaning,
Oh.
and for some reason, my mind just like automatically put moaning into the song for some reason. And so like it made me think of this Key and Peele sketch about like the office homophobe or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's literally Office Homophobe. I found where it is. So
Yeah. And so I just add, dude, you gotta add moans to this because it'll just make the song.
and you are absolutely fucking correct about that.
Surprisingly, yes. It was.
This song was gonna get scrapped. The original title for this is just Club Tune Demo.
Mm-hmm.
And I put this in here. This is literally what I've written as I've uploaded this song onto this Discord. I said, demo time, I just made this, I don't think I'm going to use it, and if I do, it will be edited heavily, which is what I meant, like, when I said that, I meant, like, yeah, I'll probably just have a bit of that, because it had the Dominic sample in there, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it.
So,
Oh shit! I don't know
that
if you
was
guys
in
can
there,
hear
and
that.
I was like,
There's some fireworks going on outside.
I cannot hear it.
Okay. Well, I'm just sounding crazy then. Go on.
Yeah. So, like, I thought, hey, this is kind of funny, but the only joke in it is that Dominic just has that in there, and then that's it. So it's like, once you had that for 10 seconds of joke, you got like a minute and 20 of just a shitty club song.
It's from the Goatee episode, isn't it? It's like I'm not in like the right frame of mind or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe if it was,
I think
the
it was
right
the
frame of
precursor
mind.
to the.
What was that?
Yeah.
I couldn't hear both of you.
I think it was the precursor to the Go Days and Incel.
Oh.
But-
Okay.
but yeah, that's exactly what that is, and
That's my
I
most.
believe that's exactly what it is. But yeah, originally that was it. That was the only kind of joke that was in there, and I posted it on here and said there's no spoilers for my EP, most likely if you listen, because I don't think it's going to be on here.
Oh, you know
But
what? Sorry, just reminded me of something. Continue.
yeah, I'll just quickly say it. But after Trix mentioned the moaning, went into Pornhub. I recorded a couple of the moan sounds for I think I recorded like a minute of it, and then I had to cut out so much that was a dick slapping sound. That was anything other than a moan. You would be surprised. I didn't want anyone saying, "Oh, you're so big" or anything in that, because the joke is not supposed to be that fucking obvious.
Right.
And I had to cut that out. Did so much noise reduction. I think that one sample, I did the most work on just editing to make it the sample I wanted.
Yeah, I still have the 28 seconds of moaning you posted on my phone.
It's 38 seconds.
I thought it was 28. I thought.
It's 38.
So did you ever repost that song in the chat once you added the moaning?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the official singles to Dissonant.
Because now I'm wondering if I grab the original version or the moaning version.
Depends if you grab the So if you grab the first one that's on here, you would have grabbed the. If you grabbed
right.
Club Tune Demo,
Right.
then you would have grabbed the original non-moaning. If you grabbed Alright You Horny Fucks, that's the moaning version.
I'm checking my downloads. Alright, I downloaded Alright You Horny Fucks, so
Yeah. It's got no moaning and nothing.
it's just so tuned down you can't hear it.
Yeah. And that was great, because then I posted it, and then Trix, your first review was just peak uncomfortable.
Yeah. Cool, because I was listening at work.
I don't know why you did that.
Because I work at nights and nobody gives a shit what I do.
You posted a picture.
Yeah, the Harry Potter. You said draw a fucking lightning bolt on your forehead. And so I grabbed the only pen I could find, which was green, and drew it.
Nice.
I can barely see it. But yeah. So Dominic, what were you gonna say just before I mentioned?
Oh, that was like, oh, I don't know if I grabbed the original demo or Alright You Horny Fucks, because that was like, oh, that would like, I don't know, maybe it would make me feel better, because it's like I didn't realize the moaning came
this
from
song.
Pornhub.
I have gotten some very interesting reviews from everyone who's listened to it. I don't think I've had a specific person say that they didn't wish the song existed, but I've definitely had people say that they never want to hear it again.
It's one of my favorites.
So
what were you saying, Dominic?
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think I made a gay anthem by accident.
I think you did.
Because I'm just saying, everybody who seems to find out as one of their favorites has been LGBT.
Well,
I don't know why that is, but I'm just gonna claim this is a gay anthem.
It's
and
fine.
I've legitimately made it that stereotypical song that was in that Key and Peele sketch.
Yeah.
And Trix, you were just fucking right. You like that moaning. It was either gonna make or break it, and it made the song completely. Again, I guess there wasn't really much to break.
I mean,
without the moaning, this song is fucking nothing.
I disagree. I think it's fine.
Genius.
I think it's fine without it, but the moaning does help.
See, I liked to make experimental shit in my room as a song to create. That one was fun, where I just grabbed everything I could, and like every sample that I hadn't used and stuff like that. There should be the text-to-speech of "Dominic, you fucker" hidden in there somewhere.
Really? Is it like underneath?
Yeah, I don't know how easy it is to find though when you listen to it, but I think it's in there, and there's a whole bunch of samples in that. Maybe the song goes for a bit too long. I think there's a couple songs in which I've done that issue.
So you really did hide a lot in Alright You Horny Fucks, is what you're saying.
Well, that and I make experimental shit in my room. I think those are the two big experimental tracks that I made.
Gotcha. Oh, and Spatial Interlude, kind of.
Yeah, I wouldn't really call Spatial Interlude at the end of the podcast like experimental type of creation. I guess the sounds a bit more like that, but
I mean, it's
yeah.
different than your other stuff. So in a sense, it is experimental for the EP or the sessions,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
I just uploaded the wrong thing. Ignore that.
Excuse me. This is what happens when you drink a lot. And the big, I guess the big one that we talk about now is the Sad White Boy trilogy.
Oh, my
Who has
favorite.
a question first?
Trix, go ahead, please.
What inspired you to play guitar so mediocrely?
The fact that I can't play good.
Fair enough.
You gotta work around your skill set.
You do. That's absolutely true. I have a different question based on something else real quick first.
Yep.
Why did you make Fucker parts 1 through 3? Like, why did you not separate them? Why did you make them one song?
Ask Jeff Magnum the same fucking question.
Parts 2 and 3.
Well,
Here's the Dominic, you fucker. I just put that up.
okay,
Yeah.
let's listen to it. I'm gonna listen to it. You keep talking. Oh, actually, I can't listen to it. It's just gonna appear on the podcast.
Rip.
It's the text-to-speech. Play it. It's 3 seconds.
Dominic, you fucker, I dare you to try and respond.
Well, I don't know what it said. I've done that a couple times, I think, during this recording where I just started playing stuff and was like, oh yeah, I'm not going to hear it. The podcast will hear it. So there'll just be random
It
bits.
says, it's just Dominic, you fucker. I dare you to try and respond.
Yeah,
And that was
literally all
supposed
it
to.
is.
Yeah, that's supposed to be at the end of Dissonant Rants.
That is the only legit cut.
I don't know. I liked how I did fucker for a bit there, but like in hindsight, I just wouldn't do the song again. I think, kind of in full hindsight, from out of all of these, including the sad white boy songs and the ones that are intentionally bad, even including tuning, I think "Fucker I Made a Tune" parts 1 to 3 are probably the worst.
It's just the most boring. Like, there's nothing really going on.
And I
It's
feel
like a mediocre prog song.
I feel like you've just insulted every prog fan.
Like, I think they would have been better on their own. Is like kind of like what Trix did, where they're like kind of 30-second little interludes here and there.
Yeah.
You might be a bit more right on that.
Like, I think having
I was to put it on, but yep.
like I think in the B-sides they're at their truest, and like having that little skit be in there, they were, I'm having that outtake, having that be a little bit somewhere would have been more fun, I think, because it's kind of a chore to listen to.
If I did this again, and if I properly said to myself, because I don't need to make this EP 10 minutes. I already had the 10 minutes with the other EP.
Right.
So it's not like I needed to stretch out for time or anything. And this one ended up going for 16 minutes. So I feel like next time I could just probably cut that song out.
Or save the parts that you like.
I just feel like none of it really works on there anymore. I don't know.
I mean, I have that special spot for it because it does use that skit, but other than that, yeah. Although the Fuckers I Made a Bass Tune part is cool too. I don't know.
I guess the last one we talk about as well. We're going with the Sad White Boy one first, then we'll do it. So Sad White Boy. Originally, Sad White Boy playing guitar in his apartment was the song that was supposed to make you uncomfortable, but that was written when I thought that this was going to be the only EP.
And did you write all 3, or was it just like we did one?
I remember how I said that songs like 1 to 6, when tuning was Dominic's skit, were all written in the order that they're on the EP.
Yeah.
Yep. Sad White Boys parts 2 and 3 were created at 2 completely different times.
Interesting. Okay.
Because they're not supposed to flow into each other, but they are supposed to have that kind of overlying theme of, like I said, I'll explain kind of some of the jokes and themes, and after that, there's only one more song to really kind of talk about on this, but big themes. So the whole titles of the EPs, the end of the podcast, the start of something new. I mentioned it in the first impressions, but the joke is that like, this is the end of the podcast. I'm not doing the podcast anymore. This is the start of something new, being in my music career. So the whole joke is leaving the podcast for starting a music career. Like how there have been a lot of artists who have done that with other things. Like there will be musicians who leave for solo careers.
Right.
You remember how Robin Thicke was on that shitty Kevin Hart TV show, and then he left and made Blurred Lines?
No.
Oh,
Exactly.
I remember Blurred Lines, though. Everyone talked about that.
Yeah. But there are a lot of artists who will just like leave kind of group projects, and then they'll say, "I'm branching out. I'm doing my solo music career." And that's the kind of joke that I was going with here. Is that I'm leaving the podcast to do my solo music career, and that's the kind of that's the EP thing kind of here. And Sad White Boy kind of ties a little bit into that, because the whole joke is that because spoiler alert, Sad White Boy is me.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole joke is that I'm playing here, but I'm fucking shit. I'm trying to start this music career, but I'm fucking terrible.
And you live in a shitty apartment where everyone's knocking on your door and you hear the traffic outside, and it's a traffic jam all day.
Also, the whole thing that I wanted to put out there as well is that as you go on, as you start to more practice with it and kind of like continue on and start to actually try, things get better, things sound better.
Okay.
So that one's not too much as a joke, but kind of like a theme out there. But the songs themselves are still like, well, he still sucks though. He's still not good.
Can I make a suggestion to you?
Yeah.
Split up Fucker. Reconsider where you put the Sad White Boy songs. End the podcast and start something new into one album. That's all you need to do.
I don't know if I'm going to bother doing that, because I just like that I have the songs out here, but I understand that it is like a better option for this EPs if there was to be an album.
I mean, like, you can have your thing, I understand that, but to me it just seems like you're kind of like you're following the spirit of the project instead of like following the spirit of your art.
I can.
And you can do that. That's fine.
That. Yeah.
But I'm just giving you my little take on that. That's all.
I think you're absolutely right. And like I said, if this was to go out and then be an album, which it's not. I think if I'm going to do something else, I think these are already out as EPs. I'd kind of want to start from fresh and that. But
Fair
that
enough.
was something that I would take into consideration.
Yeah, so next time when we do this, if you make an album, don't be afraid to make an album, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it wasn't that I was afraid to make an album. It's just that the way that I kind of created them, just to me, when I was creating them, it felt like two EPs rather than it did. But I can also understand why you see this as more fitted to be an album than two EPs.
I mean, I can see your point as well. It's just, I think we both agree in a sense.
There's also because again, there are a lot of repeating themes and stuff like that. Obviously, the guitar that's used, and let me show you a trick, is used quite heavily. Sorry,
nice one.
That was a big one. Fucking hell. Oh, apparently that was the first thing about me. Sorry, but it is the first.
This is why I have rum and coke.
Well, this is cider and coke.
Anyway,
I'm drinking a weird mishmash of.
Because we have talking a lot about this, but obviously this has been quite a large project to talk about. Let's close it up with what I think is probably the best song on here, and I don't know if you two agree, but I know it's definitely been the most accessible. Meet Me One Day at the end of the podcast.
It's the best song.
It is.
It is the most fun.
That's the only one that before this podcast, before this challenge, sorry, that was the one that was like when I saw like this whole inspiration for it, where someone was suggesting that an emo song should use a quote with that quote in it. I was like, hey, I should make that. And then I had this whole idea. I was just like, what if I did the EP making again? How funny would that be? And then I had all these thoughts, and that's what led me to kind of suggest this challenge.
And I think it was a nice challenge. I like that you did it. Now,
Because if you two had said, "Nah, I don't want to do this," then I probably would have just gone on and done this myself, or
there.
possibly even put this away. So, which is probably more likely.
So
But
you
that was.
go on.
You asked first. No, you asked first.
I was gonna say. So you told me that church services like that, they're all like fair use, like public domain stuff.
I don't believe that a church can rightfully privatize a pastor's speech.
Interesting.
Especially considering that they don't pay taxes.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Interesting. Okay. Because that was like the biggest thing is like it's this whole speech. Like no one else really does this from what I've listened to. This is not like a common thing, right?
I think the fun of this is that there was so many shit takes in this song. One, it shit takes the kind of whole repetitiveness that a lot of Midwest emo songs have. Two, it shit takes the quotes that a lot of them start with. Some of them just start off as so bad. If I had to hear another fucking song that starts with a BoJack Horseman quote, like they said, "Oh, I watched this fucking show on Netflix. I'm fucking smart. Look at this. It's so deep."
I mean, it's BoJack Horseman now. 20 years ago was Reservoir Dogs. You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The best one is Marietta's God Bless Eric Taylor, where it gets it from the show Spaced, which is Simon Pegg, and it's just Simon Pegg talking about how he bought a porn and he passed out after jerking off. That's the best quote that was ever used in the intro for that.
I think there's a lot
And
of
obviously, I'll just quickly because it's that.
Yeah.
And obviously, the last shit take is it's me and Trix with those ultra deep lyrics of "She broke my heart."
Was
fart.
yeah, like a winter fart is what I thought I heard, but I was not sure.
That is what I said because I was riffing off the top of my dome.
Yeah.
So that was literally just that was one that Trix did not expect to be used because you just chucked that in here as a little joke.
It was like a joke.
Yeah.
And then I put it out, and it's the lead single now.
I think it's fun that you included both of us in this project. I really appreciate that you did.
Yeah.
But my question now is that I think that Meet Me One Day is actually like a really cool sparking point for like a whole little subgenre of that kind of style where you could probably find other great quotes by pastors to use.
Yeah.
And they could kind of show...
Gotta start a genre to start of fucking... So, I have a pretty heavy Christian friend. He's a Protestant. He's kind of an outspoken Protestant. He has a lot of those Christian views and stuff like that, which you might not so agree with. But he does at least have the most important one, which is that even if you don't agree with them, you still respect the person.
Uh-huh.
And so that's the reason why I talk to him a lot, even though it seems like I wouldn't have a friend like that. And after I showed him this song, he goes, "Yeah, I know that quote. This is a very well-known quote in Christian circles."
Really?
Because it's actually, you know how Fire Festival is shown as a case study of how not to handle a big event?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is turned into the case of how not to do.
Yeah, of how not to be a pastor.
Really? That's
Yeah,
interesting.
you don't assault people.
You don't. Yeah. So Protestants don't like the kind of touching your kids. It's Catholics that are the ones to do that.
Yeah. As someone who grew up Catholic, yeah.
Yeah, my priest ended up being a kitty diddler.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who was in my church when I grew up, but other things were there. Other things, were going on. So,
but either way. So I was actually surprised when he told me that, but I didn't quite realize how well known it was in those circles. But it's actually really well known, and I showed it to him, and he showed it to all because he what he does is he's like a camp counselor for a lot of these camps and stuff that are pretty in that. So he showed it with a lot of the people that he was working with, and they all loved and had a laugh of it as well.
That's cool. That's nice.
So I think this is the song that has gotten the most praise. There are people who generally hate some of the stuff that's on here, but I haven't seen a single person hate this song. I've heard one friend not really like the song because it went on a bit too long. Yeah. But I think this is the one which I actually got a lot of love for. I think it's probably disappointed you a bit because a lot of the sounds that I went for with the rest of this project didn't really match it.
No, I think it's the best song on the EP. Like,
No, I don't mean that the song itself disappointed you. I meant like me releasing it as a single.
oh no, I don't care. I'm not disappointed.
Never mind then. I was wrong on that. Yeah, that's it. I mean, tuning was kind of like a shit take of intro songs. That was the introduction to this whole thing was always going to be a shit take of intro songs.
Yeah.
I wanted to do as much shit taking as I can, and some of these are just some massive shit takes and stuff. But some of these are actually like aren't like the end of the podcast and spatial interlude, or let me show you a trick and stuff like that aren't really so much shit takey as I thought this was going to be. This was supposed to be a full-on shit post like Sports Ball EPs were, where it's just supposed to be bad. You were supposed to just say, "Yep, this is shit." But this turned out so much more sample heavy than I thought it was ever going to be.
Right.
By like the fourth song, and then that's just what this turned into. And again, I can't wait till we do this again.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
I
Obviously, we'll give it time though, because you don't do this regularly, or else you're just gonna fucking kill yourself.
Yeah.
and I want to figure
it's
out
just
like
too
another
much.
angle to approach all this, but
Yeah, I think next time we do this, we'll properly plan this out. I'd be very happy if this is something that was like annual or something that we did.
I mean like twice a year. I think we can probably pull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see how we go with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got a guitar now to use, so it's that's my budget of $130.
Yeah, we spent 50 minutes talking about those 3 EPs, so
Let's just quickly say if you have a favorite song and a least favorite.
Trixie.
I'll rate you horny fucks. And his favorite, and fuckers I made it to 1 through 3 least favorite.
Meet Me One Day, Spatial Interlude, Alright You Horny Fucks are all favorites. I also like Dominic's skit, because of course I do. My least favorite is, yeah, Fucker 1 through 3, even though I do like the outtake being in there.
Yeah. So for the person who has created the EPs, what I want is that we're going to say the favorite ones that you find and least favorite for listening to, and then your favorite for creating and least favorite for creating.
Okay. So go ahead.
So my favorite to listen to
Uh-huh.
is Meet Me One Day at the end of the podcast. I think that was the one where I go into it. Now, there were some improvements I could make for that one, and not so far to say, that song is all made in Audacity. Alright, that's not a proper music software for that song. I feel like if there's any song that I would remake and like properly remaster or anything, that's the song.
Fair.
Yeah.
My least favorite to listen to is Fucker I Made a Tune. But I don't know if I would say that was my my least favorite to make, because a lot of that was still just me kind of diddling around. I think my favorite to make, it's either I make experimental shit in my room or Alright You Horny Fucks. Those ones were just fun to make.
Yeah.
Because I tried all these different things with it. I make experimental shit in my room. There's actually me shouting in there, which is this kind of lo-fi, lightning bolt inspired kind of sound.
Gotcha.
So I put one of those as my favorite to make. My least favorite to make, it's probably going to be on the B sides there, and I probably think it's I'm trying to exclude the B sides as well if I can, because they're not really on here. But I think my least favorite to make in total was probably What the Fuck Is a Geck, because I did not like where it was going in the end. Just none of it I liked. But I think the one that I least favorite to make in total on the 2 EPs, I don't know. I didn't really have too much fun with the last Sad White Boy.
Okay.
It's either that, I guess. Fucker's not that great either. It'd be one of those two. I might have to still put it with Fucker.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So who do you want to hear from
Alright,
next?
That was a long talk, but that's...
You have 3 EPs. You gotta get through them all.
Yep.
So who do you want to hear from next?
You know, we've heard a lot of you talking, Domino, in this EPs. So let's finish it off.
You want to go through me next? All right.
We'll go. I think we should go in the kind of order that we Well, that wasn't really the order that we listened to actually, because we did you first. Anyway, no, we'll go with you.
Jerry's Tall Stories. All right. So the genesis of Jerry's Tall Stories was the idea that, okay, I have to make an EP, right? But I don't really have musical talent. I can play guitar. I took guitar lessons. I could play a piano, but my piano's horribly out of tune. So I could record that. I don't have a guitar anymore, but I could record the piano and stuff if I wanted. But the genesis of all this was the idea that, oh, I can, like, read my short stories and have them, like, committed to at least an audio record, even if they're not published. Yeah. But then I did an experiment where I recorded myself reading a short story, and I realized that it took about 10 minutes. And I was like, oh, I don't really have the time to read a bunch of short stories. So I decided that I want to keep this theme of, like, you know, having something that's a little more audio drama, audiobook focused, and create a project that's a little bit like, that's kind of like shorter, that can fit within like the constraints of like a song length, but still kind of tell a story. So that's kind of where the genesis of this stuff came from. And in the chat I posted like my first short that I wrote, that was just kind of like me figuring out like a little short that I can write in about 2 pages. Because that was like the thing of like, it has to be 1 or 2 pages long in Word, and then like I'll convert it into a script later. Basically, I wrote about 14.
I think that's interesting as well, because I'm just looking at your draft for one of the one that you just posted.
Yeah,
and it's actually 3 pages long.
The drafts I made in Final Draft, because I had Final Draft,
yeah.
And that was it's a little bit
I feel like this can be probably be cut down to 2 pages with a bit of different formatting, but
right. And like in Opinionated Draft 2 that I posted, that was an example of me trying to edit the draft after I'd already sent it to Andrew, who agreed to do this with me, you know, graciously.
I gotta say that's very nice that you've actually, because we allowed collaboration with this. Obviously, I mean, if we didn't, then half of my EP would be gone. But if we didn't, all of Dominic's would be gone except the introduction.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and like most of one of the tracks, but I think that's great that you got someone to do this with, and
that was very. Go on.
I very much respect to Andrew, is his name?
Yeah,
very much respect to Andrew for doing this with you.
Yeah, I worked with, like, I was in film school. I went to college for film, and I worked with Andrew a lot in film school, and he's a great actor, and he's someone I really appreciate for working with me for years now. And so I never had a chance to really like pay him or like give him proper due. My last short film, student film that he was in, never got properly released or finished. So this project was kind of a way to kind of dovetail that little thing into this as well. And so being able to pay him and have him act and do stuff in this was kind of like, this is something I really want him to do, and he agreed to do it, and I was really grateful for that. And it was a question of like, okay, if I have him do this, because this is only like 3 weeks, and I really have to figure this out quickly. Do I have him play Jerry, or do I have him play everybody else? Like, do I give Jerry the same voice as the narrator? Which, Still and Blissful was kind of playing with that. Or do I let me voice everyone else and give Jerry, like, a unique voice?
I like that you decided to give Jerry the unique voice and give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Because when Jerry is the main focus of this, even if he's not the main like person speaking, that's like you speak way more than Jerry does.
Yeah.
But even in that case, when Jerry is who this is about, there was at no time you want to be confused of, is this Jerry or is this not Jerry? And definitely a great decision to I think it's such a great kind of sign that you weren't just doing this for an ego push onto your own thing or anything like that, but you were just doing this to the art to say, right, I don't want the main character, he can take the main character.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it works better in that way.
Right. If you look at short 1 too, you can see in the beginning that Jerry was kind of a side character that I started developing over time. And then when I asked Andrew a few days after I started writing little shorts, like, hey, do you want to record? I started writing more dialogue scenes and more focus on Jerry because I had someone to, do this with, someone to bounce off of. Because my plan was to just read it all and just figure it out, but having someone there was obviously helpful. But yeah.
And I think the critiques that I had back in the first impressions still stand.
Yeah.
Like, and the big one being that, again, you didn't quite realize exactly what you could have done with this, and you could have made it so much different from an audiobook.
Right.
And there are still definitely differences that you can hear from an audiobook in here. And it's not like comparing this to an audiobook is a terrible thing, but when you can go the difference between an audiobook and a spoken word, and when you're trying to go more for spoken word, is that you can do a lot more just sonically than you can from what you've written.
Oh, absolutely.
And yeah. And I hope that if you go for this again, even if it's not the next EP you make or the next project you make, if you ever try something like this again, I really hope you go in those directions to make the kind of sound and the sonic, like the kind of sonic sounds that you're putting in there. I don't know why I'm saying sonic sounds, it's the same fucking word.
I mean, I could add, like, sound effects and more specific...
It's not just about the sound effects. It's like I was saying, it was in the Still and Blissful, when it was that kind of whole point where you started talking faster, and it's that thing that you're talking faster is the kind of also showing that everything's a bit more intense.
Right.
Because the whole point is that it's the narrator is Jerry's boyfriend, in this sense.
Sure, yeah.
And Jerry's boyfriend is starting to kind of freak out because Jerry's not talking to him, they're in bed or anything like that. And as he starts to talk faster, it has that kind of whole, like, I'm panicking, why isn't Jerry talking to me kind of thing. Why is he not talking? Why is he not talking? Without explicitly saying that. And when it's like in an audiobook or in like in a book or something, you have to write that he's getting more frantic. You have to kind of explain that. But when you're doing it in a spoken word, the way that you talk can say that for you.
I think, okay, to be clear, that was never my intention, but I'm really interested that you had that interpretation of it, so I will totally accept that.
I know that it wasn't your full intention, but I know that it was something that you could have done with that.
But I'll totally accept that. That is, I mean, that is totally possible and totally a valid version of that.
Plus, you probably, I mean, say if you're believing the stuff that you're saying and you're trying to really get into that, you could have subconsciously been talking a bit faster because you're trying in yourself going like, all right, Jerry, come on, talk to me yourself.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean,
and that's the kind of things that could have brought up there. I think a lot of what you're saying could have flowed out well together as well. But
yeah.
I think the concepts that you put out in here were great. I liked that this was not supposed to be this whole kind of like, oh, Jerry's fighting aliens kind of shit, but it was kind of just to be more like Jerry's a gay man. He's kind of pissed off at everything.
He's just kind of living life.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was it. You didn't try to go for anything crazy. You didn't try to do anything bad. You were very upfront at the start saying, this is not a crazy EP.
No.
This is just Jerry. This is all you're going to hear. Don't expect anything crazy. And I like that you had that, because then, just an array of writing, you can also, you kind of start to surprise the person as well. So like, when you expect nothing crazy to happen, even the smallest of twists can kind of start to feel a lot more blown out there.
Right.
So you actually had a pretty good concept of writing in here. I feel like you kind of got a bit too repetitive at times, say with, what was the last one? Opinionated.
Yeah.
Where a lot of the concepts that the narrator had talked about, for some reason, the two characters in there would still bring it up, which made things irrelevant and repetitive. I am very impressed by the amount of writing that you did for this. You were easily the most prepared for when it came to actually recording stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you'll change your mind when you listen to the raw files. We'll see. But like, I was gonna say with Opinionated Draft 2 that I posted there, like, there's a lot of spelling errors and typos and like kind of like rushed even to get that Draft 2 ready. And, like, that was a point where I was like, I'm reading it with Andrew, and I'm like, oh, shit, I really fucked up some
Me
of
and Trix were just way more improv style than you were.
But
Oh, yeah.
Opinionated was the one where we started improving because I was not happy with the way the script turned out. Is what I'm trying to say. Basically, was that
Yeah.
especially the ending that I had, it was not satisfying in a way, and it was more of the idea of like, okay, how do I play with this? How do I get this to be better? Because I wanted it to be the end. Because Opinionated was like the one that
there were
I
a couple
go on.
other moments like I get what you're saying with opinionated and stuff like that, and I'm glad that it's kind of gone a bit like that. But one of the other big issues that I had as well was some of the sounds that you had in there were kind of just like you just put a backing track in there. I don't mind that you used "Alright, You Horny Fucks" in Apartment Living,
Yeah,
but it was kind of just playing without any
yes.
realization.
Yes.
There could have easily just been a part of just like, where like Jerry just starts getting pissed off and it's just like, oh, I'm playing some music or anything like that. But there was no reason for it to be kind of in there at the moment. Say if you like cut out and like, or even a narrator said something like, not specifically said, but said something like, Jerry put on some music. And then the sound kind of started playing in the background to put in this kind of extra detail that it ended up being.
Yeah.
I think that would have worked a lot better with it.
Can I be honest with you? Like, Apartment Living is my personal least favorite. I don't like the way I narrated it. I don't like the style of it. And I was heavily considering cutting it. But I was kind of also curious how other people would react to it. Like, because I had such a strong negative opinion of it. But I also realized that, to some degree, it needed some kind of just noise just to, like, have something there. Especially because I really should mention, my breathing is all over this fucking EP. It really bugs me, and I really wish I could have had, better breath control and all that. And so just, like, to mitigate that even, I was like, I need something just to kind of lay over this. And so I kind of just was, like, kind of hunting last minute, like, what can I put over this? And I just...
So I want to quickly go back to my EPs for a bit as well, just because I want to mention something, and it's not talking about the songs itself. It's actually about the EP art.
Yeah.
So we didn't really go much into mine, so that's why I just want to quickly for two seconds here
Sure.
ask what your thoughts on the EP arts were.
Boring, but they got the job done.
I mean, I like B-sides because there's a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah.
But, you got a pine cone.
Yeah, I know. I had a lot of single art and stuff there as well.
Yeah.
The reason why I kind of wait, were you about to say pine cone?
Yeah. That's somebody else's
That's
pick, too, I was going to say.
That's if you're talking about the start of something new, that's not a pine cone.
What is that?
Look, what is it?
That's an echidna.
Oh,
Knuckles, what happened?
Echidnas aren't red in real life.
well, we know that, but we've never seen an echidna in real life, man.
That's an echidna. Can't you you look at it? There's that little nose coming out.
It looks like a pine cone.
That's an echidna.
I'm sorry.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Hold on. So I'm gonna show you.
Oh my god.
What a pine cone looks like.
I guess I never really stared at it.
Yeah, I kind of just like glanced at it. I didn't realize it was an echidna.
That's what a pine cone is. Take a look at that. They look nothing alike.
I looked at it, it's like, oh, that's a pine cone, whatever, sure. I don't know what else it could be.
Yeah, I thought it was like some sort of seed pod. I didn't know it was a
So someone
penis
else on
freak.
another Discord took a photo of that. I asked if I had the permission to use that for that just for free, and they're like, yep, go ahead.
That's great. I'm glad you got that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it should be on the YouTube, it will say on there the it was done by it. But yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I'm not sure I'm that much of a fan of your EP's art.
I mean, it. I think it says something, but it also doesn't. Like, I think
it doesn't connect to the EP at all.
I mean, I think you can look at that art and kind of bring that kind of perspective into the EP and kind of read it through that lens.
I feel like album art, I feel like does something. It's like if you listen to it and you see that art, and then you listen to it again without seeing the art, you can still see the art. I feel like with the start of something new, that might have that issue as well, where it doesn't really, where the sound doesn't really familiarize it with it. But I think the end of the podcast does a better job.
Yeah.
Same with me. The single art for Meet Me at the end of the one day of the podcast. This is supposed to be. That's literally just a photo of my backyard, by the way.
I mean, I will say there's a reason half of my tracks take place in like a coffee shop.
But your let's see, what just happened? That's still running. Something's just running. Sorry, I'm just checking out my my Discord bot that I created for something else. Anyway, yeah, I feel like every time I've listened to this, I've forgotten that's the art.
I mean, granted, I did not like that was just a thing of like I just had that picture in my mind. Like I took that picture at a train stop in Chicago where I saw that on a rooftop and I'm like, oh, that's really weird. I like that. I'm gonna take a picture of that.
Yeah, I feel like also if you like had like say edited it to say Jerry's told stories or anything like that, but it something that screams out with the letters Consumer Wasteland. I'm gonna think either the artist is Consumer Wasteland or
it's a punk album.
Yeah, something like that. It just that's an art for a punk album, not for a spoken word, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I can see what you mean. I guess for me it was just the like kind of like the nihilism that had was something I wanted to like bring into like Jerry's mindset. So
Maybe.
If that didn't translate, totally fine. I get that. That was kind of my intention though. Like I think like for me, Jerry's the kind of person who has a lot of opinions, but doesn't really have anything to say of substance. Like
I feel like I feel like this is probably the summary of your album.
Yep.
Absolutely great intention, but execution.
I mean, I can't change that. That it is what it is.
Yeah.
It was totally something I fell into, and I'm just to see where it goes, and if it doesn't turn out great.
Like I said, I'm absolutely admiring again all the stuff that I can see that has potential. I think you have the potential to create one of the better spoken word albums out there. I mean, I know there's not really much, but I think you have a great ability to create a pretty unique one if you use some of the kind of ideas that I bring up, or some of the ideas that Tricks, I'm sure, will bring up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's not that you're talking a lot. It's just the way that a lot of it kind of works and stuff like that. I absolutely admire how much work that you put into this with knowing how much time that you probably actually had. I know we all had from the 7th to the 31st, but that doesn't mean that we all had 24/7 from there.
No. Like I said,
with the amount of time that I figured that you probably had with that and all the issues going on and everything like that, I think what you still made is great. Like you can easily be proud of what you made. I think you've put a lot of work into it. A lot of it shows. I admire what you're going for. I feel like if you had, say, like 2 more months, a bit more better production ability, like kind of quality on some of the samples or the Andrew's voice and stuff like that, then everything would work out so much better, and this would be incredible. And I hope you don't say like, oh, I don't want to do this again or anything.
No.
I hope you do this again. I legitimately do, and I hope you take some of these kind of ideas that we're bringing to heart, because I think you can make something great. Granted, also next time that you do it, you might not want to say you don't do it for the challenge. You just do it on your own, which might actually work out better because you might be more happy to collaborate with us, and I really hope that you do it again, because I'm excited to see what you could do with all these ideas brought in.
That actually means a lot. Thank you. I mean, like I said, my idea was to make like a screenplay and to like make a go for like a movie of sorts out of it. But if you think a spoken word would be better, then I can do that too.
I think I like the idea that this wasn't just a linear kind of like, all right, here's Jerry going like that into the story. We're just learning about Jerry as a person. This is like it's not supposed to be an EP that's based on one storyline.
Right.
It's an EP based on Jerry, and that's what you've gone for, and you've executed that part well.
Yeah.
Because what we come into here is not wanting to see Jerry say you have a story about an alien invasion. I don't know why that's the first thing that comes in the head all the time, but it just is. Say you have that. Now, in some stories you have, here's this character, All right,
Right.
here's the alien. The aliens are fighting. They lose the first time. They learn something, and then they come back and meet the aliens. Now, that's just as much about the story of the aliens and the complications it is about anything, but it might actually be a bit more. But say you have a story about an alien invasion, but then you're not talking about the guy who's fighting the aliens. You're talking about a guy who's trying to learn, how do I go around living about here, all the day-to-day kind of stuff in here.
Right.
And instead of getting this whole fight against aliens, we're getting this whole story that's based on this character that we're learning to love. And
Right.
in this spoken word kind of way that you're going for, we're learning more and more about Jerry, which is the kind of what's happening here. And I like that's what you're going for instead of trying to make one linear story.
I mean, personally, that's kind of like the thing I've always been trying to promote is like the idea that you don't have to have like a 3-act linear structure to tell a story. It can be about a character, and you can like find interesting ways to talk about the character without having it be this like, beginning to end quest, right? And the other thing too is that my dream project has always been this idea of like, say you go to a bar and you just start talking to people in the bar and you follow them home. You start learning like their lives. You can make a half-hour documentary on each person in this bar, and with the right editing, with the right like structure, with the right kind of approach, you can make each of their lives interesting, even if they're just like a meat packer, even if they're just like, they run like a street sweeper. You can make their lives interesting with the right kind of editing and approach.
Yeah.
And so to me, this like actor who's kind of found what he wants in life and just survives on having opinions is kind of that same idea of like, to me, Jerry's already found what he wants in life. He just doesn't have much else going on. He can just form opinions and talk and talk and talk, but he's kind of empty inside. So
I think that did get brought up a bit, but I don't know if that always did. Sometimes Jerry just did seem a bit more cynical for the sake of being cynical, which didn't kind of work, but sometimes, it didn't come out that way. I think that was a bit 50-50.
I mean, let's talk about some of the individual tracks. Which ones did you two like? Trix, which one did you like more?
I'm probably I'd have to say Still and Blissful, because it was the most different out of all of them.
Okay.
I absolutely agree. Again, Still and Blissful was the one where I saw the most potential in how to do it, because that one was specifically about how Jerry was asleep, and you weren't kind of narrating as a watcher, I guess is the character kind of that. You were narrating like you were Jerry's boyfriend. That was the whole point. Like, it's like you're there, and it kind of brought into like the whole fact that yes, that's where you kind of learned stuff like you're like, oh, the narrator is this guy. This is kind of what they're like here. This is why everything's like in this. You had this whole you were starting to build up this kind of whole thing of the boyfriend being like scared that the relationship is going to shit because Jerry wouldn't wake up. I know, and you had some of those kind of like the way that you're speaking and everything like that bring up so much more than what you were saying. Unfortunately, it didn't always be there, but there were just those small moments of that in which I saw so much potential. I agree, and Trix, Still and Blissful is the best track on this by far. I think
it is.
that was definitely one of the funnest ones to edit as well. No one's heard it here, but I made except for these two. But I made an edit of this where I took out Jerry completely from it, and I made it seem like the narrator had killed his boyfriend in this kind of whole like him trying to deny it kind of way, and it was definitely one of the funnest ones to edit.
Dude, that to me, that's like the fun of it too. Is like I think these situations are ambiguous enough that you can like, if you just cut out something, you can kind of take it in that direction, and that's really fun to me. Like,
Mutual's apartment living and like, I'd say Still and Blissful is like the only one actually in which I'd say it's been pretty ambiguous.
I'll say Mutuals gets a nod for me at least, just because we have Dominic trying to play a 22-year-old girl.
Yeah.
I mean, Mutuals was like, once I heard your like opinions on Opinionated and like the idea that like the narrator's too much, Mutuals was the one I cut after that, and being like, okay, I'm just gonna cut the narrator out and see what happens.
So there was actually a narrator in that. That
Yes.
is interesting. Yeah, that was something that I don't think you've actually told us.
No,
You didn't.
But But like the idea is like okay, like mutuals and opinionated are basically the same scene. Otherwise, they're just there's a narrator, there's a coffee shop, there's two people, and
Yeah.
I liked both of those scenes after I wrote them, so I wanted to include both of them. But how do I make them different? Oh, I'm just gonna have opinionated be the one with narration, and then okay, mutuals. I'm gonna see how that goes without narration, because opinionated was the one where I'm like, how much narration do I really need in the end?
So I say if I can kind of piece again, kind of like the story, not like the ideas that you're going for, but kind of stories and what the characters are into.
Yeah.
So from what I've heard, so we have kind of Jerry's in this kind of long-term relationship with his boyfriend. That's
Right.
what apartment living kind of brings up, is that they've kind of started to move in together. Jerry's kind of pissed off because his family's marrying into some jerks and stuff like that. Like his sister is marrying this homophobic asshole.
That was not
And
it at all. But okay, keep
oh,
going.
sorry, it wasn't his sister. It was like a homophobic and abusive, wasn't it?
Kathy is like a friend, and she's marrying Louis' boyfriend, who's like been abusive and homophobic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Yep. No, I got that, but I got some of that right at least.
Right.
But anyway, that still pisses him off, and he's kind of getting a bit pissed off at what people are doing.
Right.
He kind of thinks people are idiots and not really listening to him.
Right.
Still and Blissful is kind of him. Trix is kind of gone at the moment.
That's
she should be talking soon.
I hope she can. Back.
Still and Blissful is just kind of like Jerry's kind of mad, and it's kind of starting to affect the relationship because his boyfriend is now getting upset. He's like not understanding where Jerry's coming from or anything like it
Right.
here. In Carstic, it kind of goes to show off, and both Carstic and Opinionated, it kind of shows off that the relationship is kind of starting to fall apart as well. And I think that's what this is kind of brought up, which I'd like that we can get this kind of story from, is that this is kind of like the falling of a long-term relationship due to someone's kind of cynicism.
Someone's cynicism, but also someone else's lack of understanding. Like Louis and Jerry have been dating for years, but does Louis ever understand Jerry to a degree? You know,
Louis, no. Trix is gone for the bathroom break, so she's thankfully decided not to have her mic on while she's on the shitter. I'm very glad about that.
like that's the thing. The key thing
about that.
The key thing about apartment living is that at that time, Jerry and Louis still don't live together. Like it's the idea of like, okay, I think it's Louis. I don't even remember my own work, but Louis is the one who now has an apartment, or Jerry's the one who has the apartment, right? But like they both now have separate apartments, and they're thinking about moving in together. But there's this idea that there's like aspects of like adulthood, of like moving on in life that elude them and that are like alien to them, and they still don't like from their life experiences. They still don't know what it means to like quote unquote be an adult and to have those kind of lives. I think they still see themselves as teenagers, and so it's hard for them to kind of still relate to one another. And because
I think the character development that you can really go for in here is something that I'd very much like to see more explored. I don't know if I really got much more to say about this EP or much more questions, because I think the production and kind of the way that this was done was pretty easy to tell. You've kind of already mentioned a lot of it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to know much about the other track that I cut? Because I mean, I can edit it and finally release it, but I mean, like I can talk about it here too if you'd like.
I don't mind if you actually release kind of like a B-sides as well, because I feel like you got so many outtakes that you can. Or most importantly, what I really want you to do, and I don't know if you've done it yet, is I want you to go into your on your blog on Tilting Windmill, and I want you to post everything. I want you to talk about exactly all the productions you've done. I want you to share all the drafts that you had and everything, and really go full into depth, because I think you have created an interesting thing to talk about here, and I would very much love to read a blog post about this.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm fascinated by the fact that you guys are like into this in that way. I thank you for that though.
I didn't think like. Granted, I know going into this, I was like, yeah, gotta have to listen to it. But coming out, I mean, this is more than just like, this is more than just a shitty audiobook. This is actually something that was starting to become something with. I know it didn't fully blossom into that kind of thing, but this is something that you're starting to blossom in with the kind of sounds and the way that you're talking, the kind of atmosphere, and that's some stuff that I really want to see more. And that's the reason why I wanted to see that stuff more, is because, again, if you didn't have all that stuff, I may as well just read the drafts, and I got no reason to listen to this. And the main thing that I do is listen. I like listening to things.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
I want to say as well, because I got nothing else to say about the CP.
yeah.
I think there's still as much negatives as there is positives, but those negatives are like kind of, you kind of, I've already mentioned what the negatives are. It's that you've got the potential, but they're just not there yet.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think
I'll
they
agree with
outweigh the positives, or the positives outweigh the negatives?
I think it's about 50-50.
So like a 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
I mean,
For what is your very first EP?
yeah.
That's good.
It
I mean, I
is.
suppose. Tricks. I mean,
My favorite is Still and Blissful, and my least favorite is probably Apartment Living.
Can you go into that a little bit? I just want to hear more about that, if you don't mind.
About Apartment Living.
Yeah.
Again, I talked about how I didn't like that the kind of backing sounds that you had in there kind of felt very irrelevant. It was just like, oh
Sure.
yeah, here's a gay guy playing my song in there. I liked the surprise at first, but it doesn't hold up the second time.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, Opinionated also had those issues with the narrator as well, so it'll put me in a second least favorite. But Apartment Living was just kind of like, that was one where it just felt more cynical than it did really anything else. I hadn't learned enough about Jerry to understand his cynicism or anything,
Right.
and he kind of just felt like a dick in it. And there wasn't really much in there as well that was made it worth it listening to. Like, there wasn't like anything that said, okay, I learned all this stuff because of the way that the tone we're going in to dive deep into. It was pretty much just you and Andrew reading over the script while my shitty song was playing in the background. And
Yeah.
So do you think it was like the wrong opening? Would you have put something else there?
I wouldn't have Apartment Living in it just at all. I would have,
Okay.
or even if you did, I would have Apartment Living edited so much. Yeah, probably would be to the point in which it wasn't on there at all. So yeah.
So I really could have cut it out. It would not have been. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, it was my choice to be like, I don't like this myself because I don't like the way it was done, but I want to see how other people react to it. So that's fair.
That's alright. I got a song that I would cut next time as well, so I wouldn't.
I do too.
Tricks, go ahead.
Again, Still and Blissful, best song or best track off the. It's not really a song, but you know what I mean.
I mean, Ritalин's version is a song, yes, but go on.
Yeah, that was. So I still adore my cut of that. I think I like the idea of just of Jerry dying.
Or Louis dying.
I don't know. It's not. Yeah. Oh, because Louis the one narrating.
Oh, I mean, sure.
Because he goes, Jerry, are you awake? Did I wake you, bud? And this kind of sarcastic way, it's like he knows that he's killed him, but he's still asking out. It's like, are you alive? It's like this guy in denial that he's murdered his boyfriend. I love it.
I did not. I thought your interpretation was the opposite. So that's interesting. I didn't realize that. Okay.
But yeah, again, favorite Still and Blissful. Least favorite would also be Apartment Living.
Okay. So okay, I'm now curious how you'd react to the other track, because the other track to me, like, to be brief, the other track is about Jerry going to like a party in college, and he meets a boy, and they just kind of talk for a bit, and they realize they're not compatible. So yeah.
Look, if you should do a B-sides of a bunch of these scripts that you didn't use, even if they weren't recorded. I am more than happy to play one of the parts for you on that for free. If
Okay.
you can't get
Yeah,
Andrew back on.
I'll hop on too if you need me to.
Sure, I would appreciate that. We can do a couple more. I would appreciate that.
I would very much be happy to record the outtakes with you, just so we can get those in here.
Okay, I guess then for me, my favorite to listen to, I don't know, hard to say. I think there's something about Mutuals being just dialogue that's fun. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Before I get to that part, can I just ask you about Opinionated? Because I spent a lot of time with the rants and all that stuff and giving Jerry dialogue to say.
Yeah.
What do you think of like all that?
It felt like a real relationship because I have been in situations like that before.
Like, just like he's talking and he's talking, and everyone's kind of like,
and you just kind of zone out and go, yep, yep.
Yeah. Because, like, I mean, obviously I wrote Opinionated around the time we were listening to Huey Lewis, and so that was kind of the reason I was like, hey, we don't have to joke about Huey Lewis in the episode. I have that covered.
And then you just go, and then Roland goes full into the...
Yeah. So we started on the 7th. So here are all the albums that we were listening to from the 7th, I guess.
Yeah.
So one that we're halfway through listening to at the start was all the Morat EPs, Slift and System of a Down.
Yeah.
Then next week was Jelly of the Month Club, the Weekend Run Clubs, and the Two Door Cinema Clubs, and the Something for Kate. Week after was Smith Street, Huey Lewis in the News, and Surf Rock is Dead. And then we had the 1 week, obviously, where we didn't have anything on there. Then we
just record ourselves.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, would we say any of those albums had any influence on what we've done?
No. For me, no.
Me neither.
For me, just Huey Lewis, because I thought it was fun to talk about, like the American Psycho thing. Although I will say I do talk about other bands that we've discussed in the one that I cut. I do mention a couple because I thought that'd be fun.
Anyways, Dominic, your favorites?
My favorites to listen to. My favorite is Split. Well, okay. I like the introduction because I think I actually do set it up kind of well. Surprisingly, I thought it was kind of pretentious the way I kind of set it up, but looking back, it was kind of all right in the way that it's not quite Twilight Zone-esque or anything like that, but it just kind of explained the situation. I hope audiences get it. Mutuals, I appreciate the lack of narration that I tried to go for, even though I cut it out artificially. But for me, I think Carsick was the most fun to listen to, just because that was the one I put the most like scene transitions into, and like they go to the car and then they're in the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot, and that
the three lane change is just fucking always dangerous.
Yeah, like the idea that like Louis is not a strong driver, and that he's so insistent on doing that, and Jerry is like Jerry just goes with it even though he gets car sick from that kind of stuff. I think that's kind of fun. But to create, I think Opinionated was easily the most fun to create, because that was the one that took us the longest to get down, because to get Andrew to that level of like ranting about American Psycho and Bret Easton Ellis, it took a while of like, I want you to actually like rant about this and say it in a way where it's like, convincing and not just talk about it, right? Because like, I think Andrew's a great actor, and he transformed these scripts in like a really quick turnaround, and I'm super appreciative of that. But it took a while to really like build up to that level of like ranting. So for me, that was the most fun. We did 2 sessions of that, and that was great. And for me, like, I have to agree, the least favorite is Apartment Living. I just did not like the way I did it. It was the second like short of that sort that I had written, and so it was kind of still figuring out what this all is. But I kind of liked the symbolism of it, so I was on the fence about including it, and I did. So maybe that was a mistake, maybe it wasn't, I don't know. But yeah.
Oh,
good. Now on to the shit show that is my EP.
I will say I'm super drunk, so I'm sorry for not making sense right now. But
we all are, man.
Yeah.
That drunk.
I'm like 2/3 of the way through my bottle of wine.
I am half of the way through my bottle of rum and Coke. Oh, rum, and then I have the Coke. Yeah.
I'm just on my second cider. I'm not that much of a drinker.
I'm not either, but I decided for this episode, why not? Because we're talking about something I made.
It's fun to open up. Tricks.
Yeah, my horse.
This feels like this was all made in a week.
Can I tell you that it was even shorter?
I feel like it was done in 2 days, wasn't it?
2 hours.
What an EP.
Yeah.
What an EP. This is
Tricks. Did you make anything before this?
Well, yeah. Well, I was practicing guitar for the most part,
And that was like the
trying to
backing
figure
tracks,
out
right?
how. Yeah, and I want I recorded all the backing tracks and everything, all like 2 hours before we recorded First Impressions.
Now,
Oh.
I want to say as well that like I know I know you're gonna take this critique fine because I know you do much better. I think the samples that I worked with ended up better.
They did.
And okay.
On that note, you had one hell of a song on the second last one, which, despite being improv, was a very good background song.
Yes, they are very good background songs. They're very good Animal Crossing songs. Like, they're very chill. They're very relaxing. They're just kind of there, and you can just relax.
Just getting the playlist up again because it is. Bitch, to find this on YouTube.
Oh yeah, it's mediocre and acoustic.
Melancholic and a terrible acoustic song.
Yeah,
melancholic. So yeah, melancholic and terrible acoustic song. I actually like that. I think it was a very good background song. I know I still have some problems with it. I think it could have easily been half the length.
Oh
but,
yeah, that one was very
for something
self-indulgent.
Yeah, but for one that seems very much like it was very improv as well, I actually like it. I think it's a very good background song. I can see a lot of kind of scenes that you could kind of make in like a TV show or a movie or something like that, where you can actually have it in the background and it could actually enhance the scene just a little.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say, real quick, you gave Riddle and you gave both of us a 5 out of 10 the first time.
Yeah, it's moved down to a 3 for Tricks.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Because I will say, I do like what Tricks made, but I do feel that as someone who prepared and actually, took a little time to make this, that I did a little better. I don't want to be a dick about it, but I just
no, you totally did better. There's
it's like a 2. It's like a 2 to a 3.
Procrastinate.
Yeah, so, it's like a 2 to a 3 for me because there's a little bit of things that I like, but some of those things that I like didn't really like the second time around.
Fair enough. I mean, we remember in the recording, we didn't record this part, but it was the First Impressions that we did off air, where I started narrating a murder scene to I played the ukulele to seem more humble, and that was fun. And I think ukulele has the added advantage of sounding a little bit different. It sounds a little European, and I think that's really cool that you kind of incidentally or not have these different vibes going on a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I know it was kind of a dickish move for me to just start narrating over a song, but I enjoyed that aspect of it.
I think that might have been why I enjoyed it more, to be honest.
Yeah. I totally expected this album to get like a 1, because again, I threw it together in the course of like 2 hours.
I'm very much hoping that next time that we do this, though, that you do kind of spend a bit more time.
Oh, I'm going to. It's just, this was a hell of a month for me.
I know. I'm not going to have too much of like a shit show, but I feel like this is something in which like you could have easily have like, say, even asked me for like some of the sample produced songs or something, or even just thrown a sample, and I could have like made something to throw together for this.
You could have put something from Riddling completely and not made it yourself, and it would have been fine.
Yeah, I think I might actually hit you up on that, and I might try and do a better version of mediocre acoustic, or melancholic and terrible acoustic.
And
I might hit you up on that and try and do something better.
I don't know about you, Ritalin, but this kind of goes for the same thing of like what we had for the Discord chat of like, you can take my EP and use it how you like in your next album.
Yeah, I will. My plan with your EP and your outtakes, is that I'm going to make just another EP, which is going to be like a bit of a remix of that, and it's going to tell like the story of Jerry's death by his boyfriend.
Fair enough. And I'll be honest, just real quick about my EP, like, I wish I had more time to edit it, because I kind of, after a while, I was like, I do not have time. I'm just going to take the takes that sound kind of the best that I can kind of string together and just go with that and not second guess it. And some of them I kind of like strung together, and some of them I just kind of took verbatim. And I wish I had more time to kind of like figure out which of the 5 takes were better or whatever. But that's how it is.
I think next time we do it, we'll give ourselves the extra week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we still had a pretty good period of time of around 3.5 weeks or something.
Yeah.
But for Tricks...
I think, like,
go on.
2 hours. 2 hours of 3.5 weeks. That's, you know what? I'm going to do the math on this while you two talk a bit.
Well, Trix, I'm going to say, I really do appreciate that you had 2 kind of, like, interludes, and, like, 2, you alternated between long and short.
Yeah.
And I think that was to your benefit. Because just listening to, like, as much as I like melancholic and terrible acoustic song that's only lo-fi, because I don't know how to produce, having that be the same song for 5 songs would not have been to your benefit. And so having 2 songs in the beginning and then the third track kind of like break that up a bit was helpful and was nice.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though maybe I don't remember how those go, that kind of like effect that creates is good.
Yeah.
So good job on that.
Thanks.
I don't know, like, do you like anything from this EP? Like, do you actually...
I had a lot of fun putting it together in like the rushed amount of time I do. If I'm going to be honest, I do best under pressure. I think, as weird as that sounds, I've had so many like papers and projects I did in high school where it's just like, okay, I got this class starts in 15 minutes. What can I knock out? And I would usually do pretty well for what I did, and this was not one of those cases.
I mean, as someone who wrote papers once the night before and never edited it and turned it in, got like 100s or 96s, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a little different because we had 3 weeks to work on this, but you
Yeah,
also
we did.
you are the one throughout the quarantine. I don't know. I mean, I guess Riddle had a job as well, but I did not. And you had a consistent, steady job, and I was the one who was like, I have nothing to do, so I'm gonna like figure this out.
So, Trix,
yes.
I just want to do the math. So, say you didn't have a job, but we're still doing the time of the 24 of the day, so minusing the 8 hours average that you probably have to sleep, giving around an extra 3 hours a day as well, just for, you know, not doing anything, and you spent 2 hours making an EP, you could have made 156 EPs.
Here comes the next Buckethead, except with socks.
How many could I have made?
I think I got the math right, because that would be, you'd get like 11 hours a day, because 5.5 times 24 equals, around 132, so maybe I was a little bit off on that. Still, you could have made a lot of EPs.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's good that we have different amounts of output. Like Riddle and you obviously have 3 EPs worth, an album and a half worth of songs.
I was pretty much like from the get-go doing it. Like the second I said,
yes,
all right, we're allowed to, I was getting everything together, and I was going, because I thought I was gonna have a lot more outtakes.
And I was as well, but I was also writing in that period.
Yeah,
and just getting the story together.
Well, the first thing I did was write up a song, but that song just never came to fruition.
Yeah,
I mean,
I have the DM saved.
But I mean, in a sense that, like, okay,
because I actually passed over the files to Trix the other one because I written it on my girlfriend's computer and I couldn't be fucked up in Google Drive.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is
the actual comment is great if it's here. What do I say? Oh yeah, I said question. How do you get easy and free cloud storage to files under 25 megabytes? Answer, and then there's just a zip file for the files.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, in this case, it doesn't always turn out like this, perhaps. But like, you put the most work into it, you have the most stuff, and so you turned out the best. I had the second most put into it. I had the second most amount of stuff. I was more prepared, but I also didn't record a lot of what I made, so it kind of evens out in the end. So I'm kind of in the middle. And then Trix, you kind of.
I just love, like, what I did was, like, for the initial song, I'm just like, hey, I want to make a single art for this as well. Could you pass me a picture of Dominic? And then Trix goes, hold up, take your pick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. pictures of Dominic all cut out to just put on something.
That Valve
had
album,
more- I had more,
really
too.
did great for us, and my awkwardness throughout the years is unparalleled. So I've grown comfortable kind of with that. So I appreciate that you're using it in a way that's effective.
I
And-
fucking love the first one though, which is I love it. It's just you popping out the side of the screen with your lip biting, just like hey, what's going on here?
And I have like braces and shit, and I have like the glasses that I wore for like 15 years, or not that, but like that style.
That's right. I'm pretty sure Trix and has resorted to my Facebook to getting photos of me.
Yeah, like the 3 that are on there.
Yeah, because I don't take much photos.
Yeah, I used one of them for the art that hasn't been shared yet.
Yeah, which is that's my profile picture.
And I have the benefit
Yeah.
of having a Facebook since 8th grade and over 10 years ago. So,
Yeah, well, I decided I didn't want to get cyberbullied.
and I just did
Fair
not give
enough.
a shit. So,
Oh no, I would have absolutely known my fucking school.
So
I decided
seen the
I
photos
decided
I
I
have on
won't
my
get Facebook.
Facebook.
And then I didn't get cyberbullied. It was a pretty good story actually.
also, I feel like I should mention, just to be clear, I did give you $2 for B-sides.
Which means I've made the most money.
Yes.
Yes.
And that means I've spent the
Biggest
most.
return. Actually, technically, Trix I think has the biggest profit of 0 because
I mean,
that's not a net loss in the end.
$1 and however cents Australian is more than 0. So
No. I spent $130 on the CP buying the guitar.
okay, semantics, sure, but
I just use gear that I've accumulated over the years.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want me to record my shitty piano next time, I'm more than willing to. My grand piano that has never been tuned in like 17 years.
You can throw down like a lo-fi beat with that, man.
Probably. I haven't. Yeah. Anyway, Trix, do you remember any of these tracks individually, or did you just create them in one go?
I did them in like 2 groups. The first one I did was I played the ukulele to seem more humble, because that was the one I posted first, because I'm like, I gotta put something out there so that they don't think I'm just doing fucking nothing.
Just gonna go into my channel and just remind you that Sports Ball and Memories are my favorite song. The ukulele is my enemy. And yeah, that's the only song I'm able to compare that to.
Yeah, and so like that one was pretty fun to play, because again, like I have fun improvising over like a backing track, and so that like it was, so that's why, and like I wanted the melancholic and whatever I fucking called that pretentious ass tune. I let it go for 5 minutes mostly because it's like I need to fill time, and also like, oh, this is also just a lot of fun to do.
I also appreciate that we all had very different approaches to this, because it would not be Dissonant Waves without that.
Mine was the most Dissonant Waves album, but
And mine was
that's
just the
only
most
just
me.
because I literally sampled this podcast.
I mean, yes.
I don't know if there was really anything that we put out that we can say, let's compare it to something that we've recorded, or like an episode that we recorded.
I mean,
There wasn't really any. I expected Trix to do something that was going to be a lot more surf poppy.
Well, here's the thing, because I my free time mostly is for recording is on the weekends, because I have insanely loud sisters and I can't really record during the day. So
Yeah.
it's like I had to go acoustic out of necessity. Because it's like, oh, I don't want to wake anybody up in the house, and oh, I don't want to have my sister screaming in the background of my surf pop tunes.
But I will say, to our
I really
benefit,
thought that you were going to do one similar to that, though.
I'm
So,
not
Kind of surprised.
I'm not going to rank our EPs or anything like that, but I will say, none of us had the worst thing we listened to this year. Or on this podcast.
Yeah, we're all better than Love.
We're all better than Love. We're all better than Wolf Parade.
No. You're the only one who hates Wolf Parade that much. I'm just telling you now.
Yeah, like it was okay, but it just didn't. Nothing stuck.
The only thing that's worse
don't-
than being terrible is being forgettable.
Eh.
Like,
Depends on who
also,
you- Wolf. I know for you, it's one of the worst. Wolf Parade for us is not.
Nah.
it's also worth saying that, our EPs are significantly shorter than Wolf Parade or Green Day or Lauv. And so, in that sense,
I would put. So, if you want to know the rankings of how I put it, just these 6 albums:
yeah.
Love, Lust, Tricks, Green Day, Dominic, me.
Looking at the albums that we listened to that
Sorry,
are from
Tricks.
2020,
No, I totally understand.
But
looking
this
at
is also because I'm also comparing this stuff, and I'm telling you, I appreciate Dominic's more than I did Green Day.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But if I'm looking at the albums that we've listened to that are from 2020, which is when we released our own EPs, that we've now joined these people in the field of music that is available to people, or spoken word, whatever. I will listen to Trix's before I listen to Violent Soho, and you've seen my ranking of 2020 albums.
Well,
I will
I mean,
listen to
yeah.
Trix's before Tycho. I will probably listen to Trix's before. Well, Dunras kind of equivalent, maybe.
I get that. I get that because
Length plays a big part in it.
yeah. Also because I feel like when it comes to the stuff that hasn't really interested you too much, you're more likely to go with the person that you want to support. And I feel like you want to support Tricks more than you would Valent Soho. I disagree with you putting Valent Soho below Dune Rats, by the way, but it's not that I care about their ranking positions too much. I feel like those are two big contemporaries, and Valent Soho have the better executed.
I guess I don't like grunge as much as you do, and I never realized that till now. So I'm glad we have that talk.
Well, you didn't really like Scream Theater that much either, did you? Like, you liked it more than Valent Soho, but you didn't.
Yeah.
You weren't that big on it.
And I wish I could say I look forward to the day that I like grunge more. Is what I'm saying. Because I don't want to say that I hate grunge.
When we eventually do Hungry Ghost, which some people consider it Valent Soho's best, I don't know if I do. It definitely has the best song on it, without a doubt, covered in chrome fucking bangs.
And then All-Star episode is going to be... the All-Star episode is going to be really interesting, I think.
Yeah. But, with that, Tricks, is there anything else? I mean, this is not really much time to talk about when you literally did it in 2 hours.
Yeah, well, I guess I can talk about the song that you guys like the most. It has the longest title.
Yep.
I actually wrote that song, like the basis of that song, back when I graduated high school a couple years ago. And you sampled it for B-sides.
Yeah, for Wave.
Yeah,
right.
Because that was what it was originally called. It was originally just like a little ukulele tune. And so, like, and then, like, it just kind of evolved it. And, like, so that song is kind of like a part of me in a weird way. And, like, that's also why it was, like, super long and self-indulgent. But, yeah.
I mean, Animal Crossing songs go on for a whole hour or two, so you have nothing on that.
Okay. I would have cut the bass intro, but I'm like, I need to mix it up. And so I grabbed my, like, my hollow body. I have a really weird fretless bass that's just garbage, but it's weird, and but it's fun. And so I just kind of recorded like a shitty intro on that. And the other interlude was legitimately a fucked up take, and I'm like, I can still use that. So yeah, any questions on the EP at all?
Nah, it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, yours is the simplest.
I mean,
Somehow Dominic put out an EP with just spoken word, and yours is the simplest.
I mean, did you plan? I mean, you said you did the one from high school, but did you plan anything else out beyond that 2 hours?
I'm like, the one I did plan out was I did a weird kind of like reimagining of Eric Satie's Je ne Petit #1.
So Tricks, what I want you to do next time, I'll just that. I want to see what happens when you just do improv for like a week. Maybe not even a consecutive week, but like a week. And then you take the best from the sessions out of there, and you could easily put out like a acoustic sessions EP. And I think that could be a lot more interesting than what you've done in 2 hours. I think if you have some more time, you could actually have some more unique improv ideas that would work better. And I'd like to see what happens if we did that instead.
I will probably end up doing that.
I mean, have we been rude? I hope we haven't been rude, because I don't want to be rude.
No, you haven't. I have deserved like all the like. It's like, yeah, I threw it together in 2 hours. It's garbage. I know it's garbage.
It's not garbage.
I'm like, I have to put something out. Let me put
something out in 2 hours, and it's better than love. I'll give you that. Granted, the Love album felt like it went for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Even my edit feels like it goes on for 2 hours. Oh god, I can't believe I fucking did that. Fuck.
But yeah, I think like I think I might actually like tonight like put together some like short looping tracks for the and send them to you for to work out. If that's
I'll be happy to create. So I'll probably end up creating 2 EPs here. I'll do the Dominic's remix EP and the Tricks remix EP.
Well, I'm very curious to know what you can make from that. I want to start with
one song to see how it sounds.
Yeah.
Because you might be a better director than me, for all I know.
Well, again, the amount of music kind of knowledge that I have comes from a dad that had nothing to do better in his life than learn computers and listen to music, where a lot of my music history came from. And then I've done this whole kind of thing. My brother's gone into production, so he's taught me a couple little things and blah blah blah. So I've had a bit of an advantage here, despite not really knowing music theory, but I kind of just had that advantage of knowing where to go in this, so I guess that's why.
I mean, that was probably your path anyway. Like, for me, it was just like, okay, I'll do some spoken word stuff, I guess. Sure.
And I'm like,
I just never had a path. I just went with whatever I did, I guess.
But I mean, like
I can.
You said before that you were looking, you were going to do this anyway, so.
Yeah. I was possibly going to do this, so I was like, but it was either like I was either going to go for the song, but I feel like the fact that we like committed to this idea that we're going to do this kind of more pressured me to actually like, yep, do it.
I'm glad it did.
Yeah. This was a lot of fun.
Tricks, you have the simplest EP art, but I know this is going to sound embarrassing to say for me. Yours probably works the best with the sound.
Yeah, because it's and I threw it together in literally 15 seconds.
Yep.
Hold on, let me go to my website real quick, Tilting Windmill, and show you my E3 fucking recordings. Because I do that same fucking thing. And I don't know. I think Consumer Wasteland was a little bit more effort. I do appreciate the white text black, or the white background black
technically,
text.
when it comes to the EP arts that had the most effort, that was mine, because I actually went in, took the photos, got the filter, going to started editing it, but actually getting the labels out on them properly, kind of editing the adjusting, and that. I spent a bit during the art there. It wasn't like a full day during it all, but still.
Yeah, mine was like, okay, how do I make this look pretentious with minimal effort? Oh, serif text, white background.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you my last post from E3 2019, and I did the same fucking thing, except I have the cursor in mine because I thought that'd be funny.
Yep, that's it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Alright, so I feel like to end this off, here are my well, I'll quickly say my favorites. Least favorite was the were the interludes. I thought they were a bit unnecessary. My favorite was definitely melancholic lo-fi.
Yeah.
My favorite was probably ruining an actually good impressionist song, just because it came right after Melancholic and Terrible, which was a fine, if long, song on its own, and so they didn't really differentiate themselves. And I appreciated the interludes as kind of just like a little break. And my favorite's probably Melancholic and Terrible, an acoustic song that's only lo-fi because I don't know how to produce.
Yeah.
Trick's favorite to listen to, favorite to record.
Favorite to listen to has to be I only play the ukulele to seem humble. I love listening to ukulele and playing the ukulele, and I really need to play the ukulele more. And so like, that was a lot of fun. Least favorite to listen to the bass intro. That was just wholly unnecessary.
I think it was fun.
Most fun to record was definitely Terrible and what a melancholic acoustic tune that's only lo-fi because I don't know how to produce. Because it was just pure self-indulgence.
You have the best title. You have the best titles out of all of us. You get
Yes.
that by far. I thought
It was
"Sad
just me
White Boy
trying-
Playing Guitar in His Apartment" was going to be the best title, but yeah, you did it. You beat it by far.
I was just trying to go for like pure pretentious shit types.
And that's what I thought I was going for, but you really went for it.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick though, was my introduction pretentious at all?
No.
No, your introduction was fine actually. I think it had the ability to kind of cut down a lot of the unnecessary parts of it, so I thought it was fine.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Go on.
And least favorite to play, it fucked up interlude I did.
Okay.
So I feel big points that I'm going to say. I feel like we'll all just put this out. We'll just do one quick statement about what we want to see happen, kind of next time, and what we want to see. You two do, or like us do. So Dominic, you first. I think quick TLDR of what I want to see kind of next time is using a lot of those kind of more vocal styles that you could in the EP that were a bit unintentional, and kind of starting to make them a bit more intentional the next time that you do something like this, and try to make something that's a bit more sonic sounding. And yeah, what I also want to see is I want to see that blog post with kind of all the details and all the scripts out there as well. Like I said before, I'm happy to come help you if you want to. You need any more recordings done or something. Same with Trix.
Yep.
Has offered for help there as well.
I appreciate that. I probably will take you up because I don't want to. I mean, if Andrew's willing to do it, fine. I just don't want to inconvenience him more.
Yep. And obviously, last one of that is I said pass the vocal stems as well, and I'll make my remix EP. Probably not instantly, but over time.
Yeah, take your time.
And Trix, there's not really much more to say than I want to see you do this again, but I want to see you have a lot more recording sessions and try a lot more. Like I said, I am happy to help produce any song that you want a bit of extra production on, because I'm just doing this for free. Obviously, you're not going to get world star production, but
Oh no, but
we
better
can
than
have
what
it.
I could do.
Yeah. I want to see you create just so much more music, so that you can whittle it down and we can get a much bigger variety and something better. I think those are the two big takeaways for you two that I have from this.
All right.
Okay, for me then, I think, Ritalin, I want to see you go in a different direction and take on something that's not, so memey or so, like... I mean, if you want to incorporate the podcast, that is your discretion, but it doesn't have to be about the podcast or anything like that.
Yeah. I don't think I'd do that again, just full stop. I think that was just something that was fun to do with this, but yep, definitely I kind of agree with that.
But at the same time, I like kind of your thoughts about editing and your thoughts about like placing tracks in like an overall kind of thing. So I don't know. Kind of I guess the idea is like more of your style, but maybe less of like I'm just gonna do this
My
because I have
style.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like I guess explore more. Is there
Yep.
anything else I have to actually answer there? I can't remember.
Nah, it's just a
Okay.
quick summary of what you want to see.
And then Tricks, obviously, take some more time, kind of plan things out, create some stuff.
I'll start with Dominic. I'm really looking forward to seeing a sequel or whatever for Jerry's Tall Stories, and again, I see more of what like Still and Blissful was like, and less of apartment living.
Sure. I mean, okay. Should I explain the joke behind Jerry's Tall Stories? It's a really
'cause
stupid joke.
It's because it's not short stories and puns, and Jerry is 7 foot tall.
That's part of it. But around the time I was doing this EP, I I am a big follower of Red Letter Media, and they do a show called Best of the Worst where they watch a bunch of like terrible VHS tapes. And one of the VHS tapes that they watched was something called Geritol Follies, which is a bunch of old people.
I get the shit pun here now.
They have a bunch of old people doing like a big musical review show from like the 90s. And I was watching that around the time I was making this EP. So I was like, Geritol Follies, Jerry's Tall Stories, ha 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 ha.
I was thinking like Tall Tales or something.
But then it also works in that second.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of like a mix of short stories and tall tales. I thought that was like the kind of joke there.
It kind of works in that second aspect as well, which is why I kept it. You know, I kind of go based on like
I like the title. Don't get me wrong on that.
I can go like I picture Consumer Wasteland. I picture Jerry's Tall Story, so I'm just gonna stick with that. So yeah.
Yep. And Trix, is that all your summary for Dominic?
Yeah, that is. For you, Callum. Yeah, I just want to see. I want to see you go more into like the direction of like just making Sega music because I just fucking love Sega music.
Actually, I agree with that. I would like to see you make an album of like that kind of spatial.
So the stuff that
style.
I was doing on the special interludes and the end of the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's kind of like my secondary kind of recommendation.
Well, I mean, I do have that single that I was working on, which I was gonna see what I was gonna do with that. So maybe I'll go more into that direction. We'll see. Because the single I was working on, I think I shared here a bit earlier. I'm editing that one.
Yeah, that you wanted me to sing on.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that, because that one was more in the style of special interlude and stuff.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess that's really about it.
All right. Well, no real rankings to be done here. This was a fun thing. I can't stress enough. I can't wait till we do this again. But obviously, we kind of need to wait because we need a cooldown period for this.
Yeah,
I will say there's maybe no need to get wasted next time when we do this.
I think I sobered up by the end of it.
I think it was just a bit fun. Didn't need to get wasted, just to kind of help open up about the development, because it also allows us to be a lot like less strict or personal about everything. We kind of all just realize we're not really taking things to heart.
Fair enough.
We can open up.
I guess I just drank too much. I don't know.
If quarantine,
I didn't say get
still...
blackout drunk. I just said drink a bit and have fun.
Yeah, Dominic only has two methods: blackout drunk and stone cold sober.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, talking about stone cold, this is somehow a Pride Month. It doesn't really.
I mean,
hasn't really ended up that way, but still.
We're all on the queer spectrum somehow, so it counts.
We're gonna try and celebrate it this month by picking albums from artists that have a prominent, or just not even that prominent, but still count, LGBT member.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Yeah, Shreks, I have no idea who you're picking, so please tell us who you're picking.
I'll go first then. Yeah, I'm doing Mal Blum's album. You Look a Lot Like Me.
Okay.
And,
yep.
He's a trans dude, and he just writes some good tunes.
I think I heard one of these songs earlier when you first mentioned it. I can't remember though. It's been a while, but you mentioned that you were gonna intend to do this a long time ago. So
yes,
it's glad to see that you're it's finally been chosen. Dominic?
Oh, I'm doing Frank Ocean, Blonde.
Not Channel Orange.
No, specifically Blonde, because I think that was the album that came out after he came out. I don't know if Channel Orange was out when he came out.
Channel Orange came out as he came out.
I mean, I know White Ferrari the best, so I picked Blonde.
Fair enough.
We can come back to Channel Orange another time.
Yeah. I don't know, I just prefer Channel Orange, but Blonde's alright of an album as well. It'll be fun to listen to. On that note, I have picked an artist that I'm going to just have a bit of an intro here too, because back when they released their album, this ended up kind of starting a wave of Aussie artists doing in this kind of style, and some of them broke out, some of them didn't really. But when this came out, this was quite a controversial album, not in what the things brought out, but people either seem to absolutely love it or absolutely hate it. I have picked Courtney Barnett's Sometimes I Just Sit and Think, Sometimes I Just Sit.
Okay. And, okay. I didn't realize she was queer. No, but okay.
She's lesbian.
Oh, cool. Sometimes I just sit and think, sometimes I just sit.
Yeah. Because a lot of the songs that she wrote, that were kind of these love songs, were about Jen Clower, who she was in a relationship with.
And you
from
had
2012 to 2018.
And Tricks, you had Mal Blum. What was the title again?
You Look a Lot Like Me.
Okay. I am officially too drunk to remember.
That's right. This one, we did the spoken word of Dominic. This one has, she talks a whole fucking lot.
I look forward to it. It'll be a nice evolution of what we've been working on.
I like this album, so I hope you two do, but I also understand if you two do not. Either way, I have been Ritalin. You can catch me at Spotify at Ritalin for Kids. I'm now a Spotify artist. Also on Bandcamp. I'm now a Bandcamp artist. Also on YouTube Music, Google Play. Pretty much everything but TikTok, because we just didn't want it on TikTok. But
Yeah.
Dominic's stuff is actually on TikTok.
Is it really?
DistroKid. Yeah, I think you left your stuff on TikTok, or Trix left your stuff on TikTok.
I'm pretty sure I asked for it not to be on
I
TikTok.
thought I unchecked it.
I'm pretty sure I asked
Either
not
way.
to be on TikTok. But if it's on TikTok, I'm not going to dissuade anyone from using it.
I can't wait to see kids doing dab to the whole pissing in a circle.
Oh, was that? Did any of Jerry's tall stories make you laugh? Did pissing in a circle?
Pissing in a circle was like an actual laugh there. That was an unexpected line.
Me
Okay.
realizing
Anyway.
we're trying to play a 22-year-old girl got a laugh out of it.
I'm glad something actually made you laugh. Because I was
I also
hoping.
have a YouTube channel in which I post some of this music and shit on as well. It's in the description below. And most importantly, my website, which I should update eventually, because I now have a Discord bot that I'm making as a project, and also this music that I want to kind of post as well as on. So you can catch that at ritalin4kids.github.io.
I've been Trix. You can catch me on Twitter at procrastronaut_. And now you know where the procrastinating and procrastinating astronaut comes from. I also have a YouTube channel where I have uploaded the EP. It's going to be up on Spotify and Google Play and YouTube Music and everything when I get the chance. And, yeah.
I want to say as well, for someone who procrastinated, you created a lot of samples before you actually recorded anything.
Yeah, because like I was trying to mess around and then you're like, oh, I'm going to use that. And I'm like, okay, I can't really mess with that now.
Now you can...
Okay.
Well, I made a lot of samples that went nowhere for me creatively.
Right. Number one, I am uploading my WAV files to our Google Drive. I think. I hope I'm not drunk enough to fuck that up. But also, I am Dominic.
I might have a play around with them tomorrow as well.
Please do.
Public holiday.
Just figure shit out. I don't know. There's literally
actually,
hours of samples there.
Yeah, if you two want me to play around with stuff like you can a bit more quickly, I would upload it now because I have a public holiday tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna mess around. I'm gonna just practice guitar while my phone recharges and record some stuff that I want you to like layer together. Just see how it sounds.
Perfect.
If
Dominic?
it's not what I think it is, and I'm just too drunk to do it, let me know, and I'm sorry. Anyway.
Yeah, that's fine. I've still got.
I'm Dominic.
Something hours. I don't know.
I'm Dominic. You can catch me at tiltingwindmillstudios.com. You can also catch me on Twitter at DACICHOCKI. That's my first and middle initial and my last name, which is always impossible to pronounce to everyone but me. But that's okay. It's Chikoki.
Chikoki.
Yeah, Callum got it. You can get it too if you try. Just take these 10 easy lessons for $29.99 a month.
I just like the idea of you on Sesame Street just going up to the kids. Chikoki.
Okay, it's like chibi, but it's chi. It's like Coca-Cola, but it's Coke.
All right, let's alright this up because this has been our longest episode.
And you can always buy my EP on Bandcamp. and you can listen to it on Spotify and YouTube and wherever the fuck else you go for music. I can't believe I'm fucking saying that because I have a spoken word EP out
at Dissonant Waves, and also our website dissonantwaves.space.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Trix will probably update the Twitter to have all the links and stuff in there. We'll try and get all the links in below as well.
holy shit! I released an EP of spoken word shit. Oh my god.
We're gonna end it there. This has been Dissonant Waves to the Rink. We'll catch you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.